Or if you look in the beginning where it speaks of Noah, the people knew that there was a flood that was coming. There was an ark that was made. There was a way out, and they chose to deny it, and they suffered for it. In Exodus, they were warned of the angel of death, or the destroyer, it calls it, that would come on at night. But he gave them a way out. He said, take the blood of the lamb, put it on the door. He instructed them with all these instructions, dress as if though you're ready to go with, Point being, he presented them with what was going to happen, and he presented them a way out. The Lord said that he was going down there. It says now he was going down there to see if their cry was great. Now my question for you is, what does it mean by the cry? Does this mean the prayers of the city, that these men were crying out to God? Absolutely not. No, it's because these men were sinners, they were heathen, and I'll explain why later. That it was their sin that was crying out. That the Lord heard their sin. It said that it was grievous to him. And he went down there. But the question is why he went down there, and I'll explain it as I go on. In this passage, it says, that be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked. That be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do what is right? I really love this passage in this instance because he knew what was going to happen to Sodom and Gomorrah. That the Lord would cast judgment on this place and have it destroyed. And I love this passage because it shows the connection that Abraham had with the Lord. That he understood him on a personal level. That he had the knowledge and the understanding of this man being his friend, or God being his friend, to say, this isn't like you. You're the God of all righteousness. You're the God of all the universe. Wouldn't you do what is right? Implying that he told God, you're wrong if you were to kill these people. To have a relationship with God, to say, if you were to do this, you're wrong. Amen. We see in other passages throughout the Bible where men make intercession for other people and they are spared. Moses in the wilderness, God said, I'll destroy these people. And he said, these aren't my people, Lord. These are yours. He made intercession and that they were spared. And we'll see another instance where this takes place. I just wanted to stress the point that he indeed had a personal relationship with God. A deep one where he understood how he operated. I could just imagine the Lord, when he said, if there were 50 there, would you not spare them? See, the Lord of all creation, the universe, that he was going to pass judgment on this place. He didn't have to stand there and talk to this man. He said, I'm going to do this, and he could have went and did it. And Abraham wouldn't have had any say about it. But because they had that relationship, it's that covenant relationship, he stood there and he heard him out. He said, if there be 50, would you not spare it? That it wouldn't be right for you to destroy the good with the wicked.
He's trying to tell you to hold the mic up closer.
Yeah, I got it. Anyways. And the whole time the Lord standing before him, knowing that there wasn't 50, that there wasn't 40, that there wasn't 30, that there wasn't 20, that there wasn't 10. But to sit there, knowing all of this, to answer to a man, to just, not just a man, but a friend. It's where we get the term, friend of God. Well, there are other passages, but I'll continue on. But coming down to the 19th, or chapter 19, starting in the first verse. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at evening. And Lot sat at the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. Now this is a pretty interesting passage. It says that these 2 men walked in. They didn't greet them. They didn't greet Lot. He didn't say, we've come to destroy this city. They didn't come, with proclaiming a loud voice that this is going to happen and all this. It says that he just seen them. I believe that these angels, that he knew that they were angels. I believe that they came with their glory in a sense. The reason why I believe that is because just by looking at them, what does it say that he does in the second verse? It says, it says that he ran to them and he bowed down to them, put his face towards the ground, and he said, behold, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into the servant's house, and tarry all night, wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go your ways. He immediately recognized them and reverenced them. He went over to them, he bowed to their feet, and he understood what was going to happen. The reason why I believe he understood is because he lived in the place. He understood the wickedness that was going on. And when he seen the 2 angels of God, it clicked. He knew why they were there. Now him not wanting to be swept away in it possibly, or having, hoping that God would have mercy on them to some degree, he went to plead with the angels. Amen. It says, and he said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early, and go your ways. Now I want to stop right there, because he's kind of being sneaky in that instance. In the sense that he said, yes, you could come on in here, fellowship with me, eat, but in the morning, leave. It was a way of trying to say, don't do this, don't destroy the city, just get up and leave, please. I'll wash your feet. I'll cook you your food. You could sleep in my house. Please. That he interceded. And they said, no, but we will abide in the street all night. Now, listen to this part. It says, and he pressed into them greatly, and they turned into him and entered into his house. Now then, notice that where it says they pressed into, meaning he persisted, but it says he persisted greatly. Now, why was it that he persisted so greatly in this manner? Because they said, we're going to go to the streets, and we're going to stay there all night. Well, then, going back to why I think it was that they were sent there initially for a last chance before they were going to destroy the place, because if they were going to go there to destroy it, they could have destroyed it then.
Yes.
Amen?
Yes. Right.
They didn't have to stay the whole night, but for whatever reason, they were going to linger there all night. But when when they said that to Lot, he knew of the wickedness in this place. He knew what was going to happen to these people, or what they would attempt to do to these angels.
Why do you think they wanted to walk the streets at night?
Well, I don't know. What do you think, Tim?
To get evidence.
To get evidence. Yeah. It does say in the scripture that they would go down there to see if the cry was so
Let me tell you
great.
something. There's courts in heaven.
Yeah.
And we bring, the Bible says that the devil is always making accusations.
Right.
And we have an intercession.
He's in a courtroom.
Yep.
And God's sitting on the throne as the head judge.
Yep.
And so there's evidence to destroy this country, or these cities rather.
Yep.
And Perry Stone, I don't remember where he studied it, but he said he had read somewhere where the judges of the land passed laws. He was equating it to the judges of our land, where they changed the laws about homosexuality and what have you. And
Did you want to speak into the microphone?
no, I'm fine.
Okay.
He said that the judges of the land passed laws, and there was laws that they passed that they could set up beds throughout the city, that if they legalized rape.
Wow.
Yeah.
That these men could take anyone that come into the city. It didn't matter what sex they were, what gender they were, they could take them and they could legally molest them. And
Right.
that's why the cries went up to God. It was the cries of these victims.
Yeah. Anyways, going back to the cry of their sin victims. Amen. That's great. I never perceived it in that manner. Anyways, it said, and he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned into him and entered into his house. And he made them a feast. It doesn't just say he made them lunch. He didn't just say he made them dinner. This means he was really trying to appease these angels of God, that he made them a feast. It said, and they broke unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, meaning this is most likely close to bedtime. It says that they came in at evening. They said that they would stay all night.
Yep.
Now it says before they lay down. Now there's a reason why I'm stressing that, which I'll get to later. It says, but before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round about, old and young, all the people from every quarter. This means every person in the city was around about the house at this time.
Wow.
The
From where they,
spirit of lust.
oh, absolutely, the spirit of lust. We're actually going to get into it and explain it in detail later on. It says, and they called to Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us that we may know them. Now then, in this passage, it's not referring to getting to know them as in, hey, my name's so-and-so, what's yours? As Tim just said, it's in a sexual nature, which I'll get into. It proves it right in this next verse. You might think that's foolishness, but let's read on. It said, and Lot went out the door and said unto them, it says, and Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and you do with them as is good in your eyes. Now, why would he stress the fact that these two are virgins and to have your